Banned by EDG, this time on the blue side, did it in game 2 on the red side, so don't want to give it over to TVQ, don't want it anymore apparently, does EDG, to EDG, and that's LeBlanc there for LGD, but you have to think it's Sejuani now.
The anti-ban that was definitely necessary in the previous game. Must have been a blue side strategy for LGD because that's the only unique factor. Game 1, Game 3 on the red side, banning away that anti.
And there's the Nunu ban by EDG, this time on the blue side, did it in game 2 on the red side, so don't want to give it over to TVQ, don't want it anymore apparently, does EDG, to EDG, and that's LeBlanc there for LGD, but you have to think it's Sejuani now.
Comps in the late game, Orianna is going to see so many clumped up EDG members because the unique factor about something like Sivir, with her 500 range, with a need to go for the ricochet, go and cancel her auto attack animation, she always dives in with her tank line usually. They're usually at the same spot. What he can do with it in the first series, not relegated to initiation duty, as you're always able nowadays to hold on to the ball. It was really Ryu who showed that you don't have to just go for the big wombo engage, just make the enemy respect the ball. It might as well be a zoning tool next to the likes of a minefield from Ziggs or just the ultimate from Nunu. It's just a space that you have to respect because at any point the shockwave could snap you back.
As we can see, we've actually started with a lane swap here initiated by LGD. Godvi got some little creeps down as well. The mini Raptors actually with the help of saplings by Acorn, and Graves right now 1v0 in the top side of the map, free farming it up, and POAL's invading actually started the blue buff by himself.
I have to feel like this suits EDG just fine. They're not the ones that actually initiated the lane swap, but he's very happy here, Sejuani, to be able to navigate the early jungling, not have to worry about a Rek'Sai in the face during the laning phase, just be able to farm up safely. If we say anything uninterrupted Sejuani jungles have a very high correlation to victories this series.
Yeah, I mean, that's been TBQ's calling card for all of the playoffs, you have to say. And it wasn't a solo there by PYL, thankfully. Just taking away the small golems there to get himself about half a level worth of experience. So smart stuff there from PYL, getting effectively free golden experience for himself. And will isolate the mid lane, and Godvy's already miles ahead in CS.
It's just a winning lane matchup for Orianna. Good against assassins, and while Kassadin's certainly not an assassin at level 2 before he has really offensive options. Ranged versus melee, good harass coming through. Very difficult for Kassadin to pick up CS. Honestly, Kassadin happiest under turret, but that opens up space for an aggressive skirmishing jungle like TBQ to really start taking the shackles off and infecting both the lanes and the enemy jungle.
And let's be real here, Pawn has to have a good game on the Kassadin, because he's not quite a solo carry, but it might as well be given the comp that this time EDG have built around Pawn.
But it's a super punishing comp for Kassadin in general. You riff walk in, twisted advance, all of Nautilus's targeted CC, and of course the skill shots like the dredge line on your case and Imp. He has a lot more options than most AD carries. He can just turn around, do his best AD caster impression, and try and blow you up. So of course in the late game, it's going to be great for the Kassadin. That's Koro.
Yeah, good hop away, gets himself to safety as TBQ with the double buffs. Tries to make something happen early, but can't quite get there down the bottom as well. Deft with a good spell shield as Mako's going to roll in, look for the hook, plays him back there. Godvy's forced to flash, does flash the hook. Very well played. Another teleport's coming in as Akon wants to try and make it happen. Pawn desperately wants the early kill. He flashes info, eats a turret hit, and the first blood goes to Thresh, but Orianna gets the kill onto Kassadin as TBQ come through as well. Double knock up there. PYL's also here. Mako going to get hooked up by PYL. Triple play, but it's not enough. And a 2-for-1 trade for LGD.
The teleport was super on point from Akon. They pick up the kill crucially onto Orianna. Okay, 100 gold extra goes over to Thresh for the first blood, answered by another kill as well. And that's a 1 skirmish and potentially a dragon for LGD.
And Pawn's aggression, we've talked about it already in this series, might be costing him here against Godby, who's aggressive when he wants to be, but very cool-headed a lot of the time. And looks like no dragon just yet, as Deft has to recall straight back to base.
I mean, if there's only one advantage here for Pawn, is that he was able to close the CS advantage and the minion wave reset in the middle, so he hasn't lost 10 more CS. Clearlove's looking for a wraparound game.
Yeah, this is very aggressive as TBQ and PYL are back, but Mako's joining in again. Clearlove this time going to get the jump as the flame moves in, and TBQ now, the one that's a little too low. Someone looks for the kill, but no range there as PYL has to get peeled off by Mako, who takes a good chunk of damage, and Clearlove, I don't know how he lived, but he did.
There's been 6 members in mid lane for a good 3 out of 5 minutes. Such has been the aggression around this matchup. It definitely does favor Godby, but man, they're trying to make both these laners pay for their early aggression.
And it's smart from LGD. EDG know what they have to do. Get the Kassadin ahead and let Pawn take over games. We've seen it before, but LGD, knowing that's what EDG want to do, counter right back with their own 3-man roams.
And you can see the aggressive item build. It's Blasting Wand. It's going to be eventually into a Rod of Ages, but he always starts Blasting Wand just for a bit more ranged wave pushing, of course. If you can get maximum points into that Force Pulse around level 9, Blasting Wand will really help you with a bit of pushing. And then again, you have a magic resist shield from your Null Sphere if you're looking for Q harass. So goes for the more offensive option. We've seen him go off the deep end and pick up a Sheen and look for level 6 power spikes earlier, still building into a Rod of Ages, delaying your stacking just for immediate power. Pawn does lots of crazy things with builds, but Blasting Wand's definitely a staple of his early openings.
I think we would have seen Sheen if he'd gotten a couple kills, to be honest, but
there's still time.
There is certainly still time. As Imp in the top side now, level 6 on the Graves, able to present quite a challenge here to Koro, but he's actually level 5, approaching 6 himself, and Mako will join back in to help him out as Godvy's gone back, and a smart purchase here. Double Dorans and a Chalice, knows that more people are coming to the mid lane, just needs a bit more health.
Yeah, the extra 60 health might be really relevant, even if it's just a bit more ranged wave here to go with the Chalice mana regen. He's going to be feeling a little bit safer in the mid lane, but honestly, delaying a spike like the Athenes. The fact that in a Kassadin lane matchup, he's got to go a bit defensively is credit to the roam squads of EDG.
And TBQ's here again. PYL, speaking of roam squads, still back on the Nautilus. Level 3 as the ulti does hit Pawn. No Riftwalk, can't get away. Dredgeline lands beautifully there under Pawn. He turns around, he knows he's dead, and will go down as Orianna gets the kill.
And at the last possible opportunity, just ping 6, engages with the ball, not respecting the ball whatsoever. Didn't have Riftwalk himself and goes down, so that should be Dragon for LGD.
Godby trying to make the Kassadin pick pay, but EDG, they've spotted out the Dragon here. Acorn's level 6, so TBQ's pretty healthy. Godby, no shockwave, it's probably not that bad, and Dragon should go over with the man advantage to LGD.
With 5 members, no reason for Koro to teleport down, just because it will be an uneven trade that LGD would probably look to win at this point. So the first dragon goes down to LGD, and that's the difference in the mid lane. It's been 2 kills over to Govy, and he's got all the kill credit, selfishly.
Yeah, good damage on the turret there, actually, but Koro can't quite finish it off. Deft done a number on the bottom side as well. And Imp, he was the scariest person there. BF sword and his ultimate ready on the Graves. EDG did well not to fight in that situation.
It was good to back away. Whether that was just because they had a member down or they respected the power spikes, it's hard to say, but the sum result is that an earned dragon goes over to LGD.
Good spell shield though from Deft back in this lane, slightly behind on AD, but equal on CS, probably has some gold to go spend. So Deft, I think in this situation, feels fairly comfortable. With Imp going in aggressive, never mind. Deft very uncomfortable now, has to flash and ulti out as Mako, just going to get a bit of extra harass.
He just timed out the spell shield and went all in. Knew that he didn't necessarily have kill pressure, but why not go for it and at minimum force him out of lane? Smart trading by Imp against his old Samsung teammate Deft.
And now the Avarice Blade's the pickup here for Deft, so has to go a bit more into an emergency item. You have to think it's not a big BF sword for additional AD. He needs to try and stack some gold up. So officially, I have to say, falling behind a bit in the matchup.
He's had a really weird, awkward gold value. He had about 1,000 gold and had the option to pick up the crit cloak, but doesn't really necessarily give you a lot of immediate power. Avarice Blade, unfortunately, doesn't really give you any lane presence either. I guess it has the slight upside of losing 5% crit for just the potential of a little bit more gold in the mid to late game, but it doesn't help you when Imp's going to go back. Doesn't necessarily increase his lead, but it's already BF sword against Pickaxe. It's already in the advantage of Imp, who scales so well with AD.
Yeah, Graves is just the aggressive AD carry being played at the moment, arguably more aggressive than even the Corki that we saw from Deft, and honestly, he's the only player playing it. So right now, LGD looking at a 1,000 gold lead, and early on, you have to say, keep the Kassadin down and keep things going well. And I think unlike in the last Kassadin game, LGD do have tools to deal with it if he does get to late game as well.
And that's the thing. To me, in that champion select, they picked blocker Kassadin picks in the likes of Maokai and the Nautilus, but kind of the issue that faced LGD is that they just gave it up and gave up the Kassadin. They probably would have locked in Kassadin as well and then had CC, pick CC for a Kassadin. So it was kind of just a lose-lose situation when all that lockdown CC was picked, given just the popularity of Kassadin in this meta. But up top,
Kalilov actually ulti onto Acorn. Pawn's up here as well. Koro trying to find a way in, and Pawn really needs a kill onto Acorn, who does flash over. Pawn will follow. Koro will as well, and Pawn does claim the kill. Koro ultimate onto TBQ. He might be the next to fall. Kalilov lining up as Koro takes up the turret. Knockup comes through on Borrow, not enough, and Koro gets the next kill.
Excellent roam coming from EDG. This is what we saw in that Sheen game we discussed. Godfrey goes for the walk, flashes.
Yeah, tried to flash over the wall, wanted a shockwave, saw a big play, but instead just misuses his flash.
I think he was just being really hopeful that over that fat wall he would get slightly closer to the 3 members. Not to be.
No, not at all. And that's Godvy's flash wasted, and Pawn, a good roam there from Kassadin. That's one of his biggest assets as a mid lane player, but especially on a kind of power trophy character like Kassadin in the early game. He's so good at finding creative ways to get ahead.
And obviously has more mobility than the Orianna, who's fairly immobile herself. Can use the dissonance, obviously, for a slight speed up, but not really relevant when chasing down a Kassadin in off lane. Godfrey had the option of going there, trying to impact the trade, or staying in mid and pushing. Could have got a lot of turret damage down. That's probably why he felt really just forced into going for the aggressive flash to justify wasting all that time walking up as a control mage Orianna. And the result is no flash and no turret damage, so a big trade win for EDG.
Down in the bottom lane, Deft doing a good job spell shielding all of his buckshots, but slowly clearing minion waves out from under his turret. It's taking a while for it to go down, but it's being chipped away by the LGD minions.
I mean, Deft has basically given up this lane phase. You shouldn't expect too much Sejuani pressure down, but unless they have teleport up on Koro looking for a big aggressive engage, because with the Avarice Blade purchase, he's basically said, look, I'm picking this for comp. I have no real way to trade with this Graves.
Smart stuff from LGD, holding the wave in an awkward spot for EDG. Forces Deft to overextend and use the Lantern to get himself to safety. And Imp, he's a pretty good bully, and he loves to bully Deft. He's doing a nice job so far on the Graves.
The out of game turns into the in game this particular situation. He's definitely picked the more assertive lane matchup. Scales so well with flat AD, so in terms of his spells for early pressure. And we've already seen happy to use those burst trades just to try and force Deft out of lane.
I mean, I think in the story, Imp is, I believe, the older brother, so makes sense he's going to be a bit of a bully.
Got to get rid of that scrappy younger brother. Just try to show him up.
Yeah, and Imp's doing a good job so far. I mean, they've split the series. That's maybe not the 3 that Imp would have loved to hold over Deft once again after the World Semi-Finals, but dragging back up in a minute. 10 or so, and first Dragon went to LGD from a very smart rotation. We'll see what EDG can do as Koro throws Akon into the wall just for a bit of trade damage.
There's lots of members in mid.
Yep, there are. Like, once again, people trying to gank in. Clearlove looks for a line for a gank, but can't quite get there. And Sidestones for both. Cinderhawk's done for the junglers here as well. And right now, it's about time to go back and set up for Dragon.
The setup has definitely been expertly done by LG. They have multiple tunnels in the area. They have good wards over there. There's a neutral ward coming through from EDG, but the setup, as expected with the exact timer coming through from LGD, has been on point. They want to control this Dragon and open it up as their big win condition with their extra pushing advantage in mid. With their bot lane also been winning the 2v2 trades. The Dragon is their objective to have based on the fact that they've been winning and controlling the mid and bottom lane, so they need to continue on it. But Clearlove's hit level 8. Sejuani's suddenly very relevant in a skirmish.
She is. I mean, it doesn't help that Kassadin's now entering his power trough with the Rod of Ages, but EDG have some good tools. If Nars ultimate comes back up, it's about 50% on the way there for Koro right now. They do have some good spots, and we've said it before, big Sejuani odds have won people games so far. She's 2-0 actually in the series tonight. And Godby gets the blue buff. Both teams setting up as Deft. He's all alone. Gets depth charge there, but uses his ulti very smartly. Just short for PYL, though.
Wow, actually managed to run out of max range dredge line by just the tip. Literally would have hit it with basically another 100 range. Koro has prepped this turret damage for a long time, but now he's tired, so he has 15-second window, so he's able to build up rage towards that Naba. Should be able to pick up the turret in its very annoying ranged form. But this was a moment for LG to look to be aggressive, but they're not going to.
First turret looking here for EDG, though. You can see the one hit. Koro going to get it there, but he has to kind of rush down and try and give his team some control over the Dragon area. LGD haven't quite leapt for it yet. Godvy's actually gone to back. He's got his Athene's completed now, and Deft again forced to play far back in the lane.
Yeah, they just used the Lantern to disengage. Not sitting on a gold value that demands any sort of purchase. Pops a mana pot. We're waiting to see if we do see Koro look for a teleport. He's actually looking for a sneaky steal in the enemy jungle.
I think I understand why LGD aren't going for the Dragon. Imp has 2,000 gold to spend in his bank right now, and Koro stealing the red away out from under LGD's nose. Again, all EDG need to buy is time around the Dragon Pit, and Imp, not at his full strength. He's actually an item down on Sivir, despite the lead he's gotten.
That's just poor item timings you have to think. You need to shop freshly for the Dragon, even if you're in an awkward spot. And unless you can force out the enemy AD carry, get a pick to make it all irrelevant. It's just poor spending of the gold. He will have a big purchase. He will go back and pick up an Infinity Edge, but they just have no power at this present point when they really want to be fighting for Dragon.
Smart red pings onto Koro on the top side. He just got tired again back in the mini-now form. So LGD, despite the disadvantage for Imp, are going to start the Dragon, but you can see they don't really want to fight here because they've already backed off.
Yeah, the purchase has already come through from Koro. Had about 1,800 gold himself. Suddenly, all but a Randuin's completed. Maokai has Righteous Glory for a lot of power as well, but it's the 2,500 gold sitting on him that makes things difficult.
PYL does get the first initiation. Clearlove going to take a little too much damage. Ulti's away, but the Shockwave pulls them back in. Imp comes in for good damage, and Akon, he's teleported down to the bottom side. Koro is flanking, but he doesn't have any rage at all. And right now with those two kills, it'll be a 3v5.
Things certainly went better than expected from LGD, using that AD burst damage coming through from him to register the first kill, and then Godby's Shockwave was on point. Two members still looking.
Pawn wants to do this. They're actually going in, apparently. Rek'Sai gets the Dragon. PYL grabs onto Koro. Deft around the side. Has to dodge the depth charge. But Pawn, he's gone in massive. He's killed PYL. Flashes out of the way. And it's an awkward trade as TBQ almost dies. And Imp now has to run away. He's in trouble now. Koro coming in. Koro, can he line up the Mega now? He's going into the form. He doesn't have his ulti or flash, sorry. And he goes back in. Akon gets low, but a kill there for Godby. Koro goes down. Deft will follow, and a massive trade there as Ori gets a double.
And Ori gets all the kill credit, 5, 1, and 2. Had that mana buff full the entire time. Of course, Athene's now giving you that 30% restore on killer assist. Got assist for every kill.
Mako looks for the flash hook, but flashed well by Godby to get out of it.
I mean, that was EDG going all in, trying to get the resets from Pawn, getting in there with the aggressively with the ultimate. Only level 10, so still had the decently lengthy cooldown, relatively speaking, on the ultimate. Feels like EDG lost more than they gained in that situation. They lose the Dragon, they lose the kill trade, and the mid-game power of Imp and this Orianna is going to skip the mid-game with already another nice large rod in that inventory.
And for once, Cora's rage management cost him there. He's normally great at managing that rage, but didn't have it, got tired a few too many times. It was smart of LGD to wait like they did around the dragon, but EDG certainly overcommitted once it finally came time. And 2 dragons up for LGD is good, but EDG cannot afford to give them a third.
No, the third dragon, the rotational advantage that gives will be palpable this game. The item timings were good from Koro. The re-engage looked like it'll be fine, but we're going to see a replay coming through. So they just look to use everything into engage to justify an instant burst and allow them a kill. Because remember, they get the pick onto Clearlove. Imp, despite having 2,500 gold, they have the pick that should open them up Dragon. They even get the bonus of taking down Mako in the trade. And speaking of trades, EDG trying to push in aggressively. Yeah. They know that Graves is down bottom lane. They want this out of mid turret, but just get those wards down.
It'd be lovely to get, but LGD defend well. That turret will not be felled here, and it might finally be able to give his team a turret, and does in fact take out the bottom side of the map. So Pawn will go back, still level 10 by the way on that Cassidy, as Godvi is at level 11, approaching 12 already. And Imp not stopping the push. Now Koro may be getting caught here by Acorn, but he'll turn it around on the Naren. Never really caught here. He's actually happy to fight.
LGD have good aggressive wards in the red side jungle. They actually have wards over the red buff as well, considering the contest, but they pull away.
Yeah, Clearlove will get his red buff, I believe. Might have even gone over. No, it does go to Clearlove as Def was not in the area to take it away. Krugs will go away as well. And one last thing in that fight as well, Clearlove died with his flash up in that situation. So could have flashed a shockwave, didn't for whatever reason. And just a couple little things, they're going quite wrong for EDG. Once again, it's these little mistakes that cost these teams.
Honestly, I think just not calculating the damage from the collateral damage into the consideration. Probably didn't expect that extra 200-300 damage burst. Died to the shockwave shortly afterwards. So yeah, it was just another small mistake, but it's been a series where small mistakes have been punished and snowballed so hard.
And you know that that's when you're watching some of the world's best League of Legends, because these two teams, don't let the standings from the end of the season fool you. They are closely matched in skill, have had very solid playoff runs. LGD had a dream run, in fact, here, and almost looked to go undefeated through the playoffs, which would have been insanity, toppling the top 3 teams from the ladder. But instead, we're here in a third game, which at this point, despite the lead from LGD of about 2,000 gold and 2 dragons, is still hotly contested.
You mentioned it correctly, Page Time. The last game was going to be their 8th in a row. Mako.
Good spell shield though from Def. Mako thankfully not taking enough damage, and Def will get out of the ultimate this time.
You know when Ori player is confident in playing on a champion they practice, when they're looking to get picks with that team fight ultimate. Almost got the solo kill. Has Ignite, of course, for a bit of lane control and extra burst damage. Came close, but not quite enough AP just yet to take down Mako.
I mean, EDG at this stage, they're playing defensively. They're going to let this turret go. Coral will do what he can. As actually Mako gets grabbed by POAL. Clearlove in as well, but that's a dead Thresh there. And now POAL going to get aggressive on them. They don't have quite enough damage. It's 2v3. Coral needs to be in Mega Enough. Imp going in. He tosses them back, but Def's here as well. Flashes over the wall. Takes out Imp, but the trade kill happens. And Akon, now the next one. It's 2v2 already. Godvi's rotated in. Def used his spell shield early, but that might cost him. Has to kill the Orianna, but can't do it at all. Koro, the last one left, should go down in the 1v2. He's trying to make a fight out of it, but Orianna will know. It's Acorn that gets the kill.
Godvi is willing his team over the line on this Orianna. I do not understand how it gets through, but the consistent damage just not being respected. Everyone using all their summoners to get in means it's easy cleanup for the Orianna.
I mean, Cassidy trying to get a pick, but falls short as he rotates to the top. And the reason EDG was supposed to play defensively was Pawn was split pushing in the bottom lane.
Yeah, look, he made the very long hop to top. Doesn't get any kill involvement. Is able to pick up a little bit of CS, but now has fallen 30 behind. Doesn't have the big item timings yet. And if we learned anything from watching Godvi play this champion last game, you need the 3 items as a minimum. Everything after that's gravy. But until you get the Rod of Ages, the Zonyas, and the Athenes, you need your team to do so much of the heavy lifting to actually have an impact in fights.
And you can see vision being put down as well by LGD. They're prepping for the next dragon in 40 seconds or so. And we talked about it, 3 dragons is a strong lead, and when you really start to snowball the objective. So LGD have been on top of it so far. They're 4,000 gold ahead in this game as well. Imp is so strong on this Graves. Orianna ridiculous as well with the Rabadons in the Athenes done. They might even get a turret before they start this dragon, and in fact, they will.
There's absolutely no wave clear in the area. Remember, the only wave clear champion on this EDG lineup is Sivir. and Sivir is bottom lane split pushing, looking to get a turret of her own, but she's actually being forced to respect the potential of an inner turret coming down.
Acorn coming for a flank. Koro's actually coming in as well. Good rage management this time. The tier 2, though, will fall to LGD and EDG. They put so much stuff in this basket. They have to find out. Clearlove looking for it. The hook onto him. That's crucial. Pawn dives in over the top as Koro gets the kill. Godfrey's dead as well to Clearlove. Now PYL going to fall as TBQ could be the next threat. They get a kill. Yes, Mako does go down, but the ult finally used for Sejuani, as that's a clean ace for EDG.
The sweetest hook of all time actually fell down, so not quite a clean ace, but Mako made it all happen with a hook onto him, died with ultimate and heal available, and it's 22 minutes. And I've learned anything about EDG, that means it's Baron time.
Yeah, you win a team fight under 25 minutes. The Baron's up, you run straight to it, and EDG gonna take it away. The Dragon's up. LGD opinion, I think they want to take it as a counter. But EDG, they feel confident enough to be able to get an advantage off of this Baron that they'll happily take the trade.
That should just never have happened. The first two people dying are Imp and Godby, just caught with their pants down after the amazing initiate from Mako onto that Graves. There's a reason also that we see Thresh ban. It's that when you give initiation options to these players that are so practiced on these initiation champions, these are the results.
I mean, LGD, we've been praising their play all playoffs. They've pretty much played the pants off every other team they've had to play so far, as Mako entertaining a steal, but hooks PYL instead. The third Dragon will go to LGD, even though Orianna is the one to smite it away in a matter of speaking. But EDG are powered up. They're even behind in gold, but they're pushing down for more turrets. This Baron buff will mean that this turret is super dead here in the mid lane. And EDG, it's all about what they can accomplish from this point forward.
They can't hope to contest that particular outer turret. They want the inner as well.
They're going to get it here. Baron buff, so much power and deft on the Sivir. Just has incredible amounts of pushing potential. Tier 2 turret falls, not quite equal yet to LGD, but you can tell EDG really putting pedal to the metal. They're pushing as fast as they can with the Baron.
Exactly. If you can get those advantages at the start of the Baron buff duration, you feel less pressured to go for the all-in trades towards the 25% Baron duration. If you get them at the start, then you can go now, pick up these easier turrets out the bottom, set up for the next Dragon, set up vision control and push your vision line forward without feeling the need to pressure and overexert yourself to get the most out of the Baron. So it should be, you'd have to assume, at least 3 turrets during this Baron duration, which, given the texture of the game, is a massive win for EDG.
I mean, the other thing is Pawn's even getting free time with all this pushing now. Working on the bottom side, does push it into the turret, but doesn't push the turret down. But he's gone back. He's got his Codex. He's had it for a while. Does get his Zhonya's now as well. The Rod of Ages fully stacked up. Gold back to equal, and EDG, despite being down 3 Dragons, now have a good foothold in the game to fight back.
They even have the awards at both enemy buffs just to start contesting those objectives. That is just a hallmark of their play, has been ensuring that every time they get rights to something, whether it's taking 3 outer turrets down to get rights to push vision aggressively into the enemy jungle, they always try and answer and take everything that's open up to them. That's why they're so assertive with the Baron around 22 minutes. Baron's not that tanky at 22 minutes. If you've got free time, if it's a 4 members against 1, it's relatively safe to pick it up, and the opportunity cost if you fail, it's pretty low.
Look at Def positioning. He's so confident that nobody's going to challenge him. Even Pawn going in forward. They're onto TBQ. They might find Acorn as the pick, weirdly enough, but they're going to go in. Massive 3-man off from Sejuani. Koro goes in as well. Imp still alive there, but Godfrey getting chunked out. A good shockwave there defensively, but Pawn gets the first kill. Goes in and Zonya's aggressively, but can't quite finish it. Def, though, trying to do the damage, is forced to flash away. TBQ will fall, and it was messy, but it's a 2-for-2 win for EDG.
But a crazy, insane fight, and the fact that they still have Baron buff duration means they're going to break the base.
Base well and truly broken. Top inhib looking to fall down as well. Might be a step too far for EDG. PYL gets onto Mako. They're going to dive back in. Koro goes in the flay there for Mako. Koro trying to escape, but he'll go down as well. Def snipes in for some good damage, but he has to back off.
There's no real objectives for LG to pick up, but what was a crazy engage. The Wombo engage onto Orianna. Clearlove somehow sniping the backline, leading into a 2-man, but crucially, Orianna being hit by the Gnar ultimate, got them the pick, broke them the base. They're still chasing Def.
Nice juke by PYL, actually hooked to the terrain, baiting Def to use his spell shield, but Acorn unfortunately can't catch him, but a good attempt by PYL.
Need to take a deep breath. Some of these engages are just insane. Then Imp was actually free hitting Deft over the wall, had to flash defensively, reposition himself in the fight, which was mostly even, but again, the minions being so strong is what allowed them to break the base. They didn't quite take the inhibitor, but it's certainly prepped for later.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to rotate there when they want. They've got the bottom turret to take as well for 6 turrets in this game.
Okay, I need to pause you.
Okay.
Look at the second second item that Nas picked up.
What?
Yes.
That's a face of the mountain.
He just wants to give a bit of health to Sivir. We've seen lots of Nunu, specifically Beast, doing this whenever we saw Crystal on Draven. It's not quite a Mikhail's, but the face of the mountain doesn't necessarily even have that much health stacking, but it's 300 health for a carry we already mentioned. Is fighting with her peers, is fighting with her front line in the front lines like Sivir.
You know what? I don't think it's for Sivir. I think it's for Pawn.
It could be for Pawn as well. I mean, look, for any of the frontliners, and this team comp effectively is 5 frontliners from EDG.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of extra help from Korra.
Smart stuff from Korra. Love the build coming through here in our third game of the final. That turret, by the way, dead here as Clearlove almost sniped him. Good crying orb as TBQ. Gonna try and dive back in. Good knockup there coming through, but TBQ taking too much damage. Deft and Pawn will kite back away. Korra zone them all out as Nah, ulting them back, but EDG don't have many options left here. No ultimate here as Pawn. He's looking for a flank. Can he find it? EDG might be a step too far as LGD really want to fight them. TBQ going in aggressive. Korra's going to go down in mini now form. Deft forced the depth charge. The ulti just lasts on the spell shield, but TBQ's low on Pawn. He wants a snipe, but he will not find it.
Somehow Mako got separated from the other members, so it was easier for them to engage. And of course, Korra being in mini now form meant it was relatively squishy. Face of the mountain included. Fourth dragon potential for LGDs in a minute. And Korra should be able to get there, whether it's teleport or walking over. But any hope for ward control over the area, and thus a flank or an aggressive engage, is looking very difficult for EDG.
And just back to face of the mountain for a second here. It is a good extra shield. We've seen it before, but it actually scales kind of nicely with all the health you're building.
Absolutely. That's the thing. It's an extra 10% of your health being used as a shield. TBQ gets hooked.
I mean, he uses damage as well. Remember, you can just dive in there and use it on yourself as Mako. He's dead there. Good hook there from PYL.
And that's another person dead. Mako means they're never going to be able to get any more wards around this fourth dragon. Everyone's backing to spend some gold. 1,300 gold onto Graves is the notable factor. Now finishes his last Whisper. 3-item Graves means more and more safe damage from the backline, and plenty of attempts to go in aggressive with a frontliner like Mako dead.
These team fights are going to get real crazy as Pawn's powered up for his 3 items as well. Deft is there. The frontline's tanky for both sides here as well. And EDG need to arrest some control of this dragon. They had such a good lead with that Baron. They got so many structures out of it, but a couple of picks later, and all of a sudden they're faced again with LGG's 4th dragon this time.
And Korra's grouped to clear vision because he seems to think that 4th dragon is more important than 5 minion waves up top. The minion waves pushing out in both top and bot means that LGD are happy to fight around this objective because at worst they pick it up and at best they get multiple.
Dragon's dead. EDG have to fight. Clearlove going in for the steal, but doesn't get it. Corner, massive ulti. Nah goes in as well, and Imp somehow dodges it. The good shockwave comes through, but Godfrey's dead. Need to jump onto Imp. He's too aggressive. Deft, though, getting low there, and there's too much damage from LGD. Pawn, though, ripping through people on the Kassadin. Deft somehow lives. That's 2 dead already. No one left from EDG, and this time it's the clean ace.
These fights are incredible. Clearlove keeps lining up multiple members, including the Orianna, with that Glacial Prison, and then the Gnar ultimates from Korra. 18-1 now in his career, but man, is he good.
Might make it 19 with this game as well. EDG gonna re-break the base of LGD, and they might just go for the win here. 10 seconds left on Orianna. Inhibitor goes down. It might be a bit of an overreach here, and they think so too. They'll back away.
Yeah, they take pause. Not many times they've been able to do that this series, but I think all the Heart Monitors need to get a little bit of a time because these fights are just so amazing.
And EDG's team fighting, we haven't even talked about it for so long. It, weirdly enough, hasn't seemed necessary for so many games here. So let's just see this again.
Let's watch this replay because the wombo engage they get just looked impossible. Clearlove uses the Arctic Soul to get a steal, finds 3 members, then alley-oops them into the wall. Godfrey, that's the one downside of Orianna. She can be assassinated, does her best with a locus control in front of her. The resets start coming in from Pawn, of course, doesn't have a reset ability, but can just move back, gets that cooldown back, resetting the cooldown on his Rift Walk, goes in again. And man, crazy team fight, and EDG wins.
That was set up by Korra as well. Wonderful stuff there from the Gnar player, who again, I said it 2 weeks in, don't give Korra Gnar. Again, I might have eaten my words in game 1, but he's living back up to them here in this one.
Not sure about the face of the mountain, but honestly, if one of their frontliners, whether it's Sivir, whether it's Pawn, even Clearlove, lives that extra 300 health, it's a justifiable purchase.
Yeah, it looks fine here for Korra, who's got a good health pool as well. crunches forward towards the enemy, threatening with the ultimate once again. And EDG, they don't care if all 5 members of LGD are back, nor that their bottom wave and the top wave getting pushed in. They really want a Baron.
The top wave is fine. The bottom one is a massive problem. No teleport on Kuro means it's not an option for them to send someone down if they want to have any semblance of Baron control. And that's what they've used all their sweepers and vision deniers for right now.
Scuttle Crab down as well. Deft will take it away. And LGD, they'll bide their time, but the super minions will push back, clearing out wards intelligently using Deft and his spell shield. And at this point, EDG will re-push the wave and probably just go back to Baron.
They're just not able to get complete vision supremacy. Akon has teleport in about 20 seconds, and you can see littered with multiple flank wards on the downside towards the blue buff of EDG. Pawn's going to push in the wave up top. He's hit those 3 items we talk about. Nice little poke comes out to the Nautilus.
That was really funny. PWL got denied by the flay and the hook there. Couldn't quite make it back to the wall.
I mean, Oriana's very good at clearing these minion waves, but it's so tense around the Baron. Looks like they're starting onto it. It's got to about 60% health, but they have to back away.
Pawn so aggressive with his positioning, looking for a flank onto him. Level 16 Cassidy with 3.5 items, though. I can understand why it's cleared up going again.
Oh.
Gonna nail him there with the ult. He gets Godfrey as well, and then it's gonna dive straight in. Deft kiting back as Akon dives in on top of him, but Pawn right into the backlines. Massive damage onto Godfrey. Gets the ulti, but it's defensive. Deft flashes the wall to kill him. Assassinates Imp as well. Goes in for the next one as PYL's dead. TBQ will fall. Akon will join them, and EDG, another clean fight. 10-0 in team fights.
Love is a god of positioning, getting these ultimates onto Golfi 3 times in a row. He had to flash away from a hook from Mako, and this is going to be the game. And EDG, execution-heavy comps seem pretty damn easy when you've got people like Clearlove and Mako on the team.
And I'll say LGD strategically outplaying EDG for the majority of this series, but do not discount EDG's team fighting. When it gets to late game, much like their 2014 brethren, this team is destructive. The Nexus will fall down, and EDG find themselves 2-1 up in the series.
Something to be said about side minion wave control, but there's another thing to be said about just blind aggression and trust in your team. When that team